Morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee with Casey. We spent about a half hour talking about the real estate market and things you need to know. You know, if you make a mistake with a lender, it could cost you tens of thousands of dollars. You make a mistake in real estate strategy, it could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars or make you hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know, we're going to talk about, the lenders, and then I'm going to springboard right into the realtors and just a few things that you really need to know if you're going to function in the real estate market. So let's talk about it. So let's go to lenders first. There's three places you can go. You can go to a bank, right? And banks have to service their own clients. So they put the other mortgage products together. They have a mortgage banking business. But banks have different rules than others in that tougher appraisers. And because people come to them, they're not as hungry. Their customer service isn't as good. Anybody that's been on an 800 number knows that. If something goes wrong, you're back to the 800 number. But they're not as competitive. So the first place you can go is your bank. And I don't think that's your best choice. A next place you can go is a broker. And a broker has relationships with, let's say, 10 banks. And they could shop their rates, right? They're independent. They could shop their rates. They could put you in any one of those banks. Because sometimes banks are different. Sometimes one's in the money, what means they have the best rate and terms at the 30-year conforming. But their jumbo is not competitive. But theirs is. Wells Fargo is competitive. So it's up to the broker to know which bank has the best kind of financing for that. The only problem with a broker is a broker doesn't underwrite things in-house, right? They don't have underwriters. They're at the mercy of the lenders. Each lender is different. All underwriters are different. All appraisers are different. So they lack the control of overseeing everything. I like to go to one place and have everything done in one place. And that's what's called, in real estate, it's called a correspondent lender. In the lending industry, it's called a correspondent lender. Now, these are the big boys. These are the really top professionals in mortgage banking. And there's 5 or 6 major ones in the Washington area. There's George Mason, and there's First Heritage, and, Intercoastal. And these are who all the top producing realtors work with, because if you're a realtor and you're going to put your name on something or work with somebody, they better be really, really good. And that's why everybody works with correspondent lenders. So one tip, make sure you're working with a correspondent lender, okay? Now what they can do is they can also shop different rates from all the other banks. But because they're bigger, they might get better rates. And they have in-house underwriting, so they can underwrite it all themselves. They have appraisers, good relationships with appraisers. They can get that appraiser out there and get that done. So there's more control on the correspondent lenders. They're hungrier because they have to satisfy all these top producing real estate agents and their clients. Remember, if a realtor refers somebody, you better make sure they get the best deal and the best service. So really, when we talk about the lending, we talk about the correspondent lenders. Those are the best. Now, you don't need to know everything there is to know about lending. All you need to know is there's a bank, there's a broker, and there's a correspondent lender, and the correspondent lenders are the best. Now let's springboard into real estate. So that's all you need to know. Springboard into real estate. Well, how do I know which correspondent lender is the best? Ask the realtor. Now we got to pick a realtor, somebody that we would work with. There's 3 main things you can look at in the real estate industry when you're talking about realtors. There's production groups that are like automated, like Redfin, where you'll work with different agents along the way. But again, not real hungry because everything is given to them, and that's not the sharpest agents that are out there working. There's some very good ones in there, but you never know who you're going to get when you work with a company. Then there's individual agents. And you can go out and work with individual agents, but to be honest with you, if they're a really good individual agent, they can only handle so much business. So let's say I would have 15 or 20 people that want to list a house with us in a month. I could get to 2, and then systems would break down. I would go crazy. I could never handle that kind of business. I could never give customer support to that kind of group. So that's impossible. So in real estate, we have the production the production group like a Redfin. We have individual agents that can only, be honest with you, can only handle so much, right? And then you have teams. So in real estate, you have a team. And why do you have a team? Well, you have somebody that's an expert in pricing, somebody that's an expert in marketing. If you can get 10 really top producers together, they make so much business that you can afford to have somebody like Julie that is a geofencing expert, that is a marketing expert, that can do all the marketing for everybody's listing and for just us. And it's incredible. I mean, if you have a listing in Vienna, let's say, the best money is going to come from people in Arlington, Alexandria, McLean, DC. And so we need to take that house, market it up to them, and get it in front of their face to drag them into town. Because why? A $1.6 million house in Vienna is worth $2 million in Arlington. And we know it. So if you can have a medium team, you can have just top producers, just the top people they're working with. We attract the top correspondent lender, which we do, Mike Filan from First Heritage, who handles all our stuff. And then we also have our own title company. I mean, if you're big enough, then you joint venture with a title insurance company and you have a JV with them, right? And how that helps our sellers is, let's say we list a house and there's something unrecorded on the title. Well, we can either find out now or you can find out 5 days before settlement. Let's find out right now. If there's a problem or an issue, we need to find out about it early. We need to get it fixed so it is not going to inhibit the sale that's down the road. Could be an IRS tax lien that was not cleared off. Could be they didn't record when you bought your house. They didn't sign off on the last mortgage. It wasn't paid off. It's still a cloud on the title. So you see all of these things. We need to have a settlement title company that will run that for us. So basically a medium-sized team is one stop for everything. One stop for mortgages, one stop for settlement and title, one stop for painters, one stop for electricians and plumbers and HVAC guys, landscaping people, movers. If you were to get 10 people together that were really, really good, like our team has 10 people, then there's power in those numbers. There's also education in those numbers. We learn from Ferris. Ferris learns from Johnny. Johnny learns from us. We learn from him. Everybody's talking to each other. They're the damnest text groups I've ever seen. How would you handle this? Boom. You get these incredible answers when you have a bunch of professionals. So I believe in the team. I didn't want to do a team. I wanted to be the individual. There's too much business, and we finally have 10 people on that team that are so good and so sharp that maybe our technique wasn't as good as Johnny's. And it's like, you know what he did? Let's do some of that, or let's do some of this. If there's a problem, you have 10 minds all talking about it. Somebody's probably already been through that problem. How did you handle this? And there are a lot. And remember, the total overall strategy is that of the team leader, which is me. So we have the pricing strategy and we have the marketing plan set in place. But see, I couldn't handle 18 listings. But Billy can handle 3, and Kelly can handle 3, and Morgan can handle 3, and Colby can handle 3, and Pat can handle 3, and they, see what I mean? So you need the attention. When you pick up the phone, you need to have people answer it like that. Now, I've gone into listings that have expired and withdrawn and heard the horror stories that they made a phone call to their agent and didn't get a return call for 3 days. I get that. I absolutely get that. People put a house on the market, they overprice it, they're hiding from the seller, they're busy and blah, 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 and whatever, and they just don't call. Can't happen. You have to have a top producer pick up the phone when you make that call. You got a top producer pick up the phone. And if that top producer doesn't pick up the phone, they can call me because I'm bored. Because everybody does such a great job, I can take my time and focus on anything that's not going right. Either come up with new strategies or any problems. So I'm a big believer. So you have the production realtors, you have independent or individuals, and then you have teams, right? Now, some teams can get rather large, and I think if you get up to 20 or 30 or 40, then the team leader, like me, is managing realtors and not going to listing appointments. You want to list your house with me? I'm going to go to your house. If there's going to be a price on your house, I'm going to be the one that's going to at least advise you on where that price should be. I put my stamp on approval. If I say it's worth $1.5 million, that house is worth $1.5 million plus what people are willing to pay for some of the upgrades in that house. So it's it's not only a one-stop shop where everything can get done in one place, but it's having the leverage and the power to make sure that you're putting the power of one of these medium, big teams to work for you, right? So if you just know how the lenders work, that the correspondent lenders are the best, and you know how the real estate industry works, and in my opinion, the teams are best, and not just teams, but medium teams are best. We were lucky enough to be named Wall Street Journal's #1 medium team in the state of Virginia. And if we have clients that want to go out of the state of Virginia, I'm looking for a media team. And not just if they have kids in Charlotte, North Carolina, or their parents have a house in Austin, Texas. You may not know who the best medium team is in that area, but I do. There's a network, and we will find them. And we will interview them and ask them questions like you couldn't ask them. So really, I guess the point is, all you really need to know in real estate is who's a one-call person in one of the best medium teams in the area. And then you don't have to worry about anything. Anytime somebody, friends, family, business associates, neighbors, has a real estate need, whether it's buying or selling or need to paint a house or fix a bedroom, or there's a cloud on the title, what are they supposed to do? You just need one phone number. And then it's done, right? So, and the one thing that I want to remind everybody is we're not like doctors or lawyers or accountants or, because I went to get a shoulder surgery, there's no track record of how well that doctor does. You hire a lawyer, there's no track record that he's 12-0 in the courtroom. You take their word for it. You don't know. There's no track record. Accountants, how many audits have you won and how many have you lost? So I guess my point is that in some professions, you can't really know what the track record is. Not so in real estate. Not so in real estate. In real estate, you know. You know how many houses they listed, how long they've been on the market, what the success rate was. In other words, how many sold versus how many that withdrew unsold. You can see anything. You can see comments from buyers and sellers. You can interview an agent and get as much information as you possibly can. Track record. That's what sets them apart. So if you have somebody that's trying to sell a house in Austin, Texas, or a parent that's trying to sell it in Seattle, Washington, you may not know how to find the right person, but we do. Still, one phone call. It's one phone call, womb to tomb. If somebody's born and they need a bigger house, we can find the right people. If somebody has passed away and we need to sell mom and dad's house, or they moved into a nursing home, we need to sell the house, womb to tomb. And everything in between, all along the way. One phone call in real estate, one person, and you put in touch. A medium-sized team, a good one, can put you in touch with anyone you need to get in touch with. So hopefully that gives you a better perspective of the real estate market and what's going on, both in lenders and realtors, and then you can make the right decision going there forward. If you need, call me. I'm at 703-508-2535. And again, I run the Casey Samson team, which, according to the Wall Street Journal, is the #1 team in the state of Virginia, and that is 10 and under, which again, I think that's the right number, because then you get cool top producers. You're not babysitting anybody. They're all awesome. Everybody's learning from each other. It's an incredible environment, hugely successful environment in the real estate industry. Your kids or your parents or your friends or your neighbors or your business associates don't listen to Coffee with Casey, but if you listen to Coffee with Casey, at least you know a number they can call and get whatever they need. 703-508-2535, or you can reach me at Casey@CaseySamson.com. You've been listening to Coffee with Casey, where we come to you every Thursday morning, well, most Thursday mornings, and give you an update on market conditions. And today was Real Estate 101, where we kind of cleared up the lending industry and the real estate industry and how you can move forward. Remember, you make a mistake in lending, you're going to lose a couple $10,000. You make a mistake in real estate and don't have the right strategy, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. 703-508-2535. We'll see you guys again next week on Coffee with Casey. Thanks. Bye now.